on. We're good. Thumbs up, hello.
Okay.
Okay. That's the intro. It's okay. Just
Okay.
like the podcast. It's okay.
It's okay.
Hello, part two.
Part two.
Part two. That's Michael.
Did you just point, like, I don't know which side persons are going to be on, so I hope you pointed to the right side there.
I pointed kind of just at the camera, so.
Oh, like straight on. Okay. I thought you were pointing at one side or the other. Like you were, they'll be side by side. But anyway, you've done a thing recently.
I did do a thing recently. I slept for 12 hours.
That's awesome. Not what I thought. Huh.
While I was at DragonCon. Do you see the segue? I segued. I slept 12 hours at DragonCon. It was awesome. I went to bed at 9 one night. I think it was Friday night. And I woke up at 9. It was awesome.
That sounds terrible.
No, it was fantastic. It was so nice. It was cool in the hotel room.
I thought you meant like you slept only 12 hours over that 5 period of days, which you go, okay, that makes sense. You're trying to cram in as much as possible, but you slept for 12 hours more than nights.
Not even a little bit. It's my vacation. I'm going to go to bed early if I want to.
That's fair. Okay. All right. Hold on. Before we get too far into it, what is DragonCon?
DragonCon is a very large science fiction, fantasy, now anime, gaming, etc. It's all the things that are good in life convention held in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And it's held over Labor Day weekend, and it unofficially begins on the Wednesday before Labor Day now.
Has it pushed to Wednesday now?
It has. It officially begins on Thursday, and it ends on Labor Day, Monday, the following. However, Monday night, there's usually a after party, which is also known to, it's where everybody disposes of their alcohol. So they have a big party to dispose of the alcohol. And then Tuesday is now beginning to be, it's almost a week-long convention, like unofficially. I went down on Friday this year because Thursday I had some car troubles, so figured it all out. Went down on Friday. Picking up my badge took all of 10 minutes, maybe.
Okay, now what? How come it only took 10 minutes? That was what Thursday was. Because I went in a weird
time. Even on Thursdays, like, it just depends. I think I went.
Is that
a little bit closer to the afternoon? So everybody had already done their like morning, wrapped around the building line to pick up the badge. I let time pass. So that is
still standard.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Okay. Because I used to go as well. I used to live in Georgia and would go to, I have been to DragonCon, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And the last time I went was probably 2009, I think. I was thinking about that before, and I think that may be the last time. So that would have been 15 years ago. We did never have a year
that crossed paths.
Correct.
We never went at the same time. Correct. So that's where I was. And this year.
But that used to be what Thursday was. We would go down early on Thursday to get a badge, and you would stand in line for 2 or 3 hours. What?
This year, this is my 15th badge. This is.
So wait, have you been every year since I stopped going?
Yeah, I have not. The only year that was missed, but I do have a badge for it, was 2020. But they did still print badges and give them out. So I got my 2020 badge. Cool. So I have every single one of them. I put them on.
Well, you have a whole set. Wow. I do remember seeing people like that when I was going who were like, I've been attending everyone since, when did it start? The 80s? I don't remember exactly.
Something
when,
like
90s?
Oh, the 40th anniversary is 2027. So.
Okay, math. So then it would have started in 87.
Yeah.
That's math, pretty sure.
There we go.
Okay.
Set up.
So that's what you went down. When did you said you went down on Friday?
Yeah, I did have Thursday plans originally, but car trouble threw a wrench in that. So I was just like, you know what? Sure. I'm not going to stress. I'm not going to go down really late. I don't care. So I was like, I'm on vacation, whatever. So I went down.
Did that happen last year too?
What?
Car trouble right before. I just had a memory of you like text messaging me about it and telling me how you were going to go down one day and then had car trouble, so you just wound up going the next time.
It's
It's
pretty
not
much how
really
it goes.
relevant. I just had to I know you didn't text me
It's
about it this time.
no, this time it
That's
was
weird.
like it just wasn't. It wasn't gonna work.
It's the
So
season for car trouble, I guess, right around Labor
it's
Day.
what happens. You get all packed up, you get ready to go, and then you're like,
That
all right
that did
then.
happen on more than one occasion. I remember that now. Anyway,
Oh yeah. But that's fine. I At this point I expect Thursday to be the day where things go wrong, and that's fine. That's fine. I still got
do they
Friday,
have
Saturday,
events on
Sunday, and
Thursdays?
Monday.
Because that used to be
Yes.
like there was nothing planned.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Um
You just could get a badge.
they
That was the only thing that would happen. And then I think they started expanding to smaller, not like celebrities or anything really official, but they would just have some small, not even panels, but get
yeah.
together in a ballroom type thing, if I remember correctly.
There are now
And
panels on Thursday. It's
wow.
later. I want to say the first one starts at 5 o'clock, and then there's a party
Okay.
that night. It's the big kickoff party. It's the Bunny Hutch party. So that's when everyone does their Hugh Hefner and Playboy Bunny version costumes, and it's massive. It's so big. They're always at capacity. When I went, I think it was 2 years ago. I was in line for 2.5 hours. And then I decided I was done. I didn't care because it was the room was at capacity. I was in
Sure.
line totally stagnant because they were
Sure.
two people go out, two people come in.
Yep.
Sorry. So
Familiar with
after
that.
waiting in line and getting closer, but the room still being at capacity, and I wasn't even in the building yet. I was still outside on the sidewalk.
Ugh. In
Instead, because it's in the
August or
Hyatt, I
September?
believe. Well, it's at night, so it's
Ugh.
not nearly as bad. You're not in the
Still
sun,
sounds
it's at
terrible.
night. But yeah, it definitely gets sticky pretty quickly. So after 2.5 hours, I was like, it's not worth it. I'm going to bed. I was like, I don't care
Okay.
anymore. Um,
So that was
so yeah, Thursday
catch
kicks it off.
for the last 15 years. Has it
Mm-hmm.
grown in size?
I remember I've been reading. There's an
That
official group on Facebook that is the
sure.
Dragon Con group, and I've been reading that. This year they capped attendance at
Oh, they capped it.
85,000 people, I believe it
Okay, so
was.
that's about the size that it was back. I remember it fluctuated the years that I went, teenage leading into adulthood. I remember
Mm-hmm.
there was always talks of it being 60 to 80,000 was the
It's been
amount
pretty
of
big.
attending because it was always compared to Dragon or Comic Con in San Diego, which was 3 times that
Yeah.
size or even more or
Ooh,
something
it's
insane like that. And I remember people,
gosh.
there was all kinds of rumors throughout the whole weekend of people being like, yeah, the waits are really long. There's over 100,000 people. There's 120,000. Every time I heard the number, it got larger, but it was never official. And I didn't know they were capping attendance. That makes sense because there's only so much space within those. How many hotels do they have now? 4 or 5?
It is no longer the Sheraton. It's called the Cortland Grand now. But I call it the
Okay,
Sheraton,
sure.
and I always will. And then the
I remember
Hyatt, the
that one.
Hilton, the Marriott, and the Westin. Those are the host hotels.
Okay. See, when I remember going to the Westin, we stayed in there, which was down the street, so we didn't have to deal with the long wait for the elevator at the Hyatt, which was terrible.
Marriott. That's the one. The Marriott is known for
No, it was
the
when I was
elevators.
going, it was the Hyatt. The
Oof.
Hyatt was
It's
the
all
main
bad.
room that
It's all
everything
bad.
took place in, and you would go in and there would be the elevators. The best time we ever had was when we wound up staying in they had a separate tower in the Hyatt that you would go over, and they had separate elevators that almost
Oh yeah.
nobody used because they weren't connected to the main floors.
Yeah, those were those
That was the
separate
best
rooms. I
one.
remember you guys got rooms there regularly. So, okay,
That was
here's
nice. But anyway.
nope. Okay, so 72,000 is the official count actually for this year.
Okay. But
Here
that's not too bad.
are
That I mean, look, I would that
so
sounds like an insane amount of people, but
your last year, you're so astronomically incorrect. Your last year, 2009, 30,000 was the attendance. My first year, 30,000, 2010.
is
Then it
this
was
official numbers?
46,000. Yes, this is on the wiki. These are their official numbers.
Where does that
Um,
come from? That's interesting. Because yeah, that's what I remember hearing 60 to 80 was supposedly official numbers. Clearly not. God, I can't imagine it being 3 times the size. I can. I didn't.
yeah.
I'm not really into conventions anymore. I did that for a bit. It was cool, and then I worked it for a bit, and that was less cool. And
Meh.
now there's just way too many people, and I don't like that many people. Um,
Yeah. That's entirely
Hold
valid.
on. I bet I can figure out. Continue telling me what happened. Let me see if I can figure out the most crowded convention I've ever been to.
That's cool. Well, mine would definitely be 2019 Dragon Con because that was 85,000 plus. And this year was 72,000. So yeah, I do. 2021 was really cool. That was 42,000. So it was like, you know, all your bestest friends
It's
again.
too many people. Oh, it's so much.
But oh man, it's my home away from home. That is my holidays. Is Dragon Con. So anyway, went down. Friday just kind of meandered and went and saw everything, saw a bunch of costumes, had a good time.
Do you wind up seeing panels? Is that something that you
Yeah.
typically do?
Yeah,
How
I
what
enjoy going to panels and seeing all of I do the vendor halls and the artist alley and looking at
Mhm.
everything. Um what?
I'm gonna ask what kind of panels they had this year. Like what was when I was going, the last time I would have
Mhm.
done, I remember we went because I mostly was tagging along, and so I didn't know a whole lot, but I remember being really excited about the Battlestar Galactica because that was a show that I was watching at the time. So they had the panels
Oh
there.
yeah.
That's a highlight for me. If I had to think back and be like, oh, I remember seeing this cast, it had almost the full cast there, I think, and
Yeah.
they did a fantastic panel, and it was really funny.
Oh, they're
But
always excellent.
there's no way they're still having Battlestar Galactica panels, are they?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely they are.
Really?
Yes. Oh yes, anything and everything.
Huh.
It pretty much covers all the things. This year was, I mean, it was excellent. This year they had it was a panel that I ended up missing because there was a lot of concerns with the bigger lines. There was a lot of difficulties managing lines this year. I believe they were understaffed for volunteers, so it was tricksy, and so I didn't want to like bother with the big stuff that was having trouble with like being in capacity earlier, but whatever, it's fine. But they had a huge Lord of the Rings panel this year because they had three of the hobbits. They had Elijah Wood, who was Frodo. They had Billy Boyd, who was Pippin, and then they had Dominic Monaghan, who was Merry. And I have seen Sean Astin at a separate appearance at DragonCon, so I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get the core. I'm gonna get all four." But
You're
it's okay. I
collecting them.
missed those, and I'm gonna rewatch it on like DragonCon TV next year.
Yeah.
Because they do highlights. They also had, for me personally, that was the biggest panel I wanted to see this year. They had panels with Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion this year that were like
Oh yeah,
always
that's always good. I
huge.
remember those.
Catherine Tate has been coming regularly and she is hysterical, and she does talk a lot about being Donna on Doctor Who, but she was also Nellie in The Office. So she talks about such magical things. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
And people,
recognize the name at first, but I know who that is.
yeah.
That's cool.
So she talks about her sexy Toby outfit too. It like
Oh God,
when I went, it was so excellent. It was an actual
that's
hour of
cool.
nonstop laughs because she also has an older show, the Catherine Tate show. Her skits are fantastic. She's really really funny.
Okay.
So she was again here this year. They also had
Now
the entire main cast of a show from I believe the late 90s. It was called Roswell. That I adored
I
that
remember
show. They
that.
had the main cast there for it. It was their 25th
Okay, that's
anniversary.
cool.
Um a lot of things. Like my
I
interests all get
figured
piqued over it. They have like authors and celebrities and
I figured they would be shifting things out more towards the like new shows come out. You mentioned Lord of the Rings and a lot of
yeah.
the cast there. Did they have anyone from Rings of Power? Because that's
I
currently
don't
going on and is amazing. But I don't know if
I'm
that's.
not sure off the top of my head. I don't think so. They did have a watch
I
party
bet they
for
would
it.
have it at Comic Con because that seems to be like the big one
That
where
makes
everyone
sense.
goes to.
Yeah. I don't know
The
how much
big
new
one,
stuff they had
even
this
bigger, the
year.
biggest one. Apparently, Celebration Orlando, Star Wars
Hmm.
Celebration in Orlando. I worked that. I went there
Yeah.
in 2017. That was where it took place because they rotate it. It's not the same convention every time. I think the next one took place in Anaheim after that. I remember
Hmm.
the job talking about whether or not we were going to go to that one, but didn't
Yeah.
have to do that. But that one had 70,000 people,
Phew.
and that is too many.
Yes. And it's so fun.
We were only in the one hall. We were in the exhibitor hall or the vendor hall or whatever it was. That's
Yeah.
all I experienced of that entire convention, but that was way too many people.
Woo,
That
woo.
working a convention is very different from going to a convention, and boy, it is hell.
Jeezy Pete's. Oh my goodness. I actually have my
I
DragonCon
can't.
programmed, but I could go through the schedule and the program for probably 40 hours. So it's
Yeah,
fine.
that's a
It's fine.
lot. The
It was
highlights.
really
You
cool.
just give us the off the top of the things that you really enjoyed seeing and doing.
One of my favorite things, I'm so glad she was back this year. There's a woman, her name is Alonka Dunnan. She's really cool and she solves ciphers and cryptic things. She specifically talked about it's called Cryptos, which is very interesting. It's a sculpture at the CIA
Like
headquarters
Bitcoin
in
or
like shh,
like
and it is a sculpture that has I think it's 8 panels. It's two-sided and one, two, I want to say like 3
say
of
it
them
again
have
because I
been
definitely heard
solved.
cryptos and I know that that's not.
It's called Cryptos. It is called
So it
Cryptos.
is
The
okay. So
sculpture
I
is
didn't
called
mishear it. I'm
Cryptos.
just stupid. Got it.
You're just
Go ahead.
being a dingus. But anyway, not
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of it has been solved yet. The artist who sculpted it is alive, and he's like he I think he's given 2 clues, maybe like just 2 words to assist in
Okay,
solving, but it's still unsolved. Um, it's really fascinating,
that's cool.
and she got to go visit. Like, you are not supposed, it's on the grounds of the CIA. You don't get in, you don't get access. So she was able to, I believe she got to do a talk at the CIA about solving um, cryptograms
Huh.
and all of the really fascinating things that she does, ciphers, etc. Um, I saw her one year and it blew my mind. She's really, really cool, and it super enjoy what she talks about. But she got to go see the sculpture. She took pictures of every side of it. Like, she's a part of breaking codes, like a team as well, I think. Um,
Jeez.
she's super fascinating. And one of the top ones that really piqued my interest for the first panel I saw her at was talking about it's called the Voynich Manuscript, which is a book of like otherworldly plant drawings, and it's in a language that it has never been decoded ever.
Who?
It seems completely alien, all of the things on it. I cannot
Where's
remember.
it origin from? Like,
Hold on.
actually, does anyone know? It
Please
just showed up.
hold.
It was
Hold on, my mouse is not really cooperating with the computer at this second.
sure
Let's
as
go.
it does. Now,
Voynich manuscript. Okay,
is
so
this
it's an
someone you go and see
illustrative
repeatedly?
codex. Yes, I love seeing her. She always has really fascinating things that she talks about. So it
Okay,
is
that's
the
cool.
date of it is unknown. The parchment is dated to the early 15th century, but we don't know if
Oh
that
wow.
was when it was created or if that's just when the paper was created that it's written amongst. We don't actually know who the author is. It is a codex, and it is handwritten in an unknown script referred to as Voynichese. It's called the Voynich manuscript. The
Interesting.
vellum on which it was written has been carbon dated to the early 15th century, so approximately 1404 to 1438. The manuscript may have been composed in Italy during the Italian Renaissance. It is really just so fascinating. Um,
Hmm.
there are pieces of art in it that are of plants that are not known to this world, like it, and we don't know if it is all a code or if it's an entire hoax or like it. Nothing of it makes sense, but it's really fascinating. And there's also a book that I would like to purchase that is a print of every page, and I think it has
Wow.
information inside of it, but it is of the Voynich manuscript. It's really cool. It's really cool. And I don't understand how to break ciphers and stuff, but there are websites where you can learn how to. Um, you can publish your own ciphers and cryptograms to solve. Uh, I don't know. It scratches the cool part of my brain, and it's really fascinating. So I
That's
always make
neat.
time to go
I
to one of her panels.
okay. Is that a smaller panel? Like
Yes, it.
number of okay. I always had more
Yeah.
fun at the smaller ones, if I remember correctly,
Oh, absolutely.
than like the huge ones. It was too long of a wait, and then there was just like you're in a room with 1,000 or 2,000
Yeah.
other people all at one time.
I
But I
still got
remember
in
having
line
some
an
fun
hour
at the
early
smaller
for
ones.
it, but It's really cool, and it's very fascinating, and she is incredibly intelligent and well-spoken and so
That's awesome.
smarmy and funny. I like her very much, and she talked about, I believe she had 10 talking points of different unsolved things. But Kryptos at the CIA is really fascinating for me, and then the Voynich
Hmm.
manuscript is completely mind-blowing. But she does a great
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up
presentation,
after this.
and like I went to one that I was fascinated about. She did one on cryptids, I think is where it started slightly, or she
Okay.
mentioned cryptids, and I like that
Mhm.
word. I love cryptids. So I just went one year and I sat down and proceeded to have my mind blown. It was like, this woman, it made me aggressively rate all of her panels in the app with like 5 stars, and please have her return every single year that she can. Oh,
Oh
she's so
wow.
cool.
I didn't even know that was a thing. See, there's
Yeah, me
what I've
either.
missed out in the last 15 years. There's apps that you are rating the panels you go to. That's
Oh,
interesting.
the
And like
Dragon
providing
Con
direct.
app. Yes, it has the schedule loaded into it. You can add friends in there. You can share your schedule with friends so you can meet up at panels. It literally shows you, oh
It's got a
gosh, I'm
map of all
gonna,
the like. Oh wow, that actually sounds extremely useful because I
you
remember we
can,
used to like the week before get the program and go, and sit down and then mark out everything. You write a whole
yes.
schedule with like, I've got 30 panels I'm going to go to, and then the thing happens and you
Yep.
go, I went to 5,
Yes. Yes.
but it was still a
I
great time.
will. I'm going to send you pictures of what my schedule was for each day so you can see how I overbooked myself immediately. It would be like
Oh,
5
I'm
things
sure.
going on at the exact same time in every single hotel, and
Oh God.
I definitely have some hilarious images of how overbooked myself, overbooked that I do for
Sure,
myself
sure.
each year.
God,
So it's now on an app. You do still get your program book and your what is it? It's the program book, and then there's another thing that's the actual like paneling. And with the app you can also find yourself, like you can do like find where I am right now in relation to X hotel
that
and room in the hotel. It's
I
very
got
helpful.
so lost. Yeah, that
Mhm.
seems extremely useful in today's age with everything because it
Yes.
was really it doesn't seem like 2009 or that era right before it should have been the Wild West, but it feels like it with what you're
Yeah.
describing now because I realized there was a lot of, well, I know how to get to this place, so I can go to panels here. And anything that was
Yes.
outside of that,
That's
I don't know
it.
where the buildings are. I don't know downtown Atlanta. I don't remember any.
Yeah.
I remembered where the food court was. I could usually navigate to the little mall food court area because that was a
Yes.
meetup so that we could get lunch. That was what I
Right.
remember most about like how I could get to there from a couple different buildings, whatever connected. As soon as you left that group, I was lost. I don't know where I
Yeah.
was going.
No, absolutely. It took me probably 10, okay, exaggerating, but I feel like it took me 10 years to learn the layout of where the hotels are and be able to navigate each of the hotels properly.
It
Um it took a really long time to get it down, even though it is just like you have the Hyatt, the Marriott, and Hilton. They're all 3 in a
those
row.
three are connected. I remember those three,
Yes.
right?
And the Peachtree Center is like adjacent to it. But you can
Sure.
get to the Peachtree Center, the mall where the food court is, and there's a little courtyard to eat at. That is connected to both it's like in between the Hyatt and the Marriott, so it's connected like up above it, right? So there's your host things. The Westin is if you leave the Hyatt, if you walk out the front
Yep.
of it and then you turn left, you walk up like 1 block, and that's where the Westin is,
Yes.
like across the street
I,
there.
I, I
And then
remember
the
learning
Sheridan,
that because
the
that was where we stayed and I had to
yeah,
be able to get back to the hotel room at night.
right. So if you walk outside of the Hyatt, you can see where the Westin like is. You can see it, and so then getting to the Sheridan is on basically the opposite end. So it's almost U shaped. There we go. Okay, so in
Okay.
Fallout New
Sure.
Vegas, it's U-shaped, right? So you have your 3 hotels that are connected, your Peachtree Center on this end of the U. You on the right end of the U, you have the Westin, and on the left end of the U, the tip of it, that's where the Sheridan is. And so
But
it took a long
there's
time
all
for
a
me to
map
memorize.
now. Does
Yes,
Is it
there's a
just a
map.
map
Yep.
of, you said you could find out where you're at. Does it do
Yeah.
like step-by-step directions of being like, go to this floor in order to cross over to here in order to get to this place? Like, okay, that seems perfect. That is how you
Yep.
could navigate around because there was a lot of, I've
Yeah.
gotten lost. I can't find the panel I'm in. So now I'm disappointed and I'm just standing here. What's going on in this room right next to me? And then you just pop in there and go, oh,
Yep.
this is actually cool. All right. Great.
Yes, exactly. And the
Cool.
hotels they're not exactly, well, I guess they are kind of separated by specific track. So you have your like, I think there's actually a Britcom track or like Brit Lit. There's a lot of literary ones. There's different
That makes sense. Kind of put
like
subjects.
sci-fi tracks.
I
It's
remember the
endless.
lowest levels of the base, not basement, but like the lowest levels, I want to say in the Hyatt was where they would do movie screenings overnight. Like every room,
Yes.
you'd walk down a hallway and every ballroom off to you was smaller, but they would all have a screen would be in like, there's
Yeah.
anime in that one. Someone's watching Star Wars in there. There's Star Trek in that one, just like
Yes.
throughout the entire night.
That still happens. It's 24/7 programming.
Wow.
And yeah, a lot of them just that's it is what it is. There's something always playing. And then the bottom floor of the Hilton used to be where the game room was in the way of like tabletop gaming. You had just different
Mhm.
sections of like this is Warhammer, this is D&D campaigns, this is Pathfinder campaigns, this is Magic. They still have
Sure.
tournaments. They have
See, I
like
missed all of that because
uh
I wasn't into any of that by the time
oh
that
my
I was
gosh,
going to the
it's a
convention. So
haven.
I can imagine.
It's really
I
really
can
fun.
imagine it's about a week straight of just nonstop fun things to do.
That's all I want. I want it to be a week straight. That'd be fantastic.
I don't work it. That wound up, and actually for
No,
me,
I don't want
I
to.
wound up not having as much fun working because you have to put in at least what it used to be all the way back then.
Yeah.
You had to do like 20 hours over the course of it. So it was pretty much like a 5 hour shift every day
Yeah.
for the 4 or 5 days because you could, and a lot of people tried to get in and take a shift like first day so you could bounce through, do all of them in like 2 days. Do
Yeah,
two
exactly.
10 hour days, get it done, and then enjoy the rest of the weekend. I did not do that. And I got stuck with whatever was left because I kind of showed up last minute and didn't know that
Right.
that's what was going to happen, but it was useful to do. And I worked security. So there
Ooh.
were security where it was like, well, you start at midnight and you go to 5 a.m., which kind of ruins anything you want to do the next morning because you're exhausted and you go home, you go back to your
Yeah.
hotel room and sleep after that point. It
So
wasn't ideal,
sleepy.
but it was a lot of, like you said, line crowd management, standing at
Mhm.
the door. They saw me. I'm about the same size basically that I was at 18. So 6 foot tall, big, heavy dude. And they go, great, you're going to stand there and be intimidating. And I go, okay, I can do that. And I try, and it didn't work very well. But, we just called the police if anything actually happened. We had radios and
Yeah,
we would
yeah.
just radio. We were on the same channels with the police so you could get quickly to
Right.
Atlanta Police Department to actually deal with
Exactly.
anything there. You weren't supposed to touch people where you weren't just stand there and be intimidating, but don't get in trouble.
Right. Yeah,
But the
exactly.
coolest thing that if I remember, because it mostly was crowd control and dealing with people, which I really don't like doing as it turns out. But the coolest thing was kind of playing bouncer at a concert with people who had set up a Tesla coil. You
Ooh.
know how they can do that and they make it and it
Yeah.
does music. So
Mhm.
it was like a rave with this Tesla coil. And I show up and they're like, all right, great, here, we're gonna put you in here. This is like, midnight, whatever it was. They pulled me off the door and put me in the ballroom because I was doing crowd control at the door for
Mhm.
a few hours. They put me in there and they're like, okay, don't let anybody pass this point. And here's a fire extinguisher. You're also kind of doing safety. If it catches the carpet on fire, get it out. Which thankfully nothing happened there. But there was a lot of me standing there and being like, no, you can't come back here. And I did that. Like the first person who did it, I came up and he's like, "Yeah, I'm wearing a lab coat. I'm part of the thing. But that's cool. You're doing your job. The
Oh,
last guy who was here
man.
was just letting anybody do anything. So I just did that. And it was really cool. They played some really cool music off the Tesla coil and did that. But it was basically just a rave.
Man.
And I was really, really tired by the end of that.
Yeah, that sounds right. So yeah, it's pretty much just magical and large. It's really really
Yeah,
fun.
that sounds about right.
I cosplay every year, which is excellent. It's my whole heart and soul. And this year I started making props for one that I was doing like last minute and I knocked out my props. I'm really proud of that one and I'm going to
Is
try
that
and
different
keep
from
it.
normal? It's not an accusation. It's not an attack. It's genuinely. I'm just curious if you are
There were
more
like
optimistic leading up into it because I feel like that is the Dragon Con crunch. The
for
last few
like
weeks leading up to it, you're like, oh, I have to build an entire outfit from scratch because I put it off, or I wasn't able to get this done, or I've pivoted to a new costume entirely.
okay, stop attacking me. So
I'm not
that
trying
was the
to,
case
genuinely.
for probably the first, I don't know, 11 years of me going to con. And then there were like 3 really good years where I would get it all done a week in advance. And I would take the day
Oh
off
wow.
before I would go to the hotel. And I would spend a whole day packing. And then I would sleep on it. And the next morning, if there was anything I forgot, I'd stuff it all, just back into my suitcase, add some extra things, take out what I didn't need, like really pared it down and made it as super organized as possible, right? And then depression. I don't know. So this year
Sure.
this year I con crunched for sure. But I wasn't like staying up too late working on stuff. I was staying up maybe an hour later than usual. So like not 9 o'clock bedtime, maybe 10 or 11 o'clock bedtime. Ooh. So I started working on something that
Wild.
I have thought about for a
How
year or
many
two. Yes.
how many different ones did you do? Because I remember that used to be you were there for 5 days, you did 5 different outfits, or sometimes
Yes.
more. Is that still the case?
So this year I repeated a costume on 2 different days because it's my whole heart and soul. And I'm also going to send you,
That
I guess
seems
there's like 8 files that need to be inserted into this picture wise because I'm going to send you pictures of my costumes for each day
yeah, you should.
to insert. So this year I did, I had some more casual costumes because I'm going to be walking around and I want to
That always
sit
does
down
seem like the
comfortably.
yeah. That I remember like the one that would stand out, and I don't know if it was the same dude every year, but there was a guy who would go as Pyramid Head, and it was like full size, and I go,
Yeah.
how do you function outside of just
hmm
standing here on the floor with pictures taken? How do you then go and do anything else here? What do you do with that thing? Do you just have to go back to the hotel room every time? It's insane.
Yeah, you get a handler. That's what a lot of them do, and it's very, very
Yeah,
smart.
I bet you kind of
I saw
have
a
to.
couple Pyramid Head this year. They're still popular. They're still excellent and really cool to see every single time.
I believe it.
There are people who do a more casual version of it, where it's like they're not on platforms or stilts or whatever, and they don't have the crazy sized pyramid, but they do still build an appropriately sized, awesome, stunning costume. I
Sure,
want to do
sure.
that one year. I really want to make a pyramid head because I want to make those props so badly. The giant weapon, oh, so cool. Props are my favorite thing to make. That's just, it's a blast.
You make some really good ones. I'm
It's
thinking of
really fun.
the Fallout. What is it?
The man
The
opener.
manslaughter?
Man
The
opener.
what?
Man opener, like a can opener.
That's better. That's different. Okay. That makes
So
sense.
the man opener, I do a mishmash of things for my Fallout costume. This year, hang on, let me cap it. I do a version of Ash Ketchum that's pretty casual, just stuff that I've got. It's more of like my accessories are making Ash Ketchum. Like I have the shirt and I have a hat, and I usually carry around a Pikachu with me, and I'll make like his shoes.
Sure.
And then I just have like a black shirt and some jeans.
I don't know why I
So
pictured Sora shoes and they were like 16 sizes too big, but I know that's not what Ash Ketchum wears, but that is what I picture.
no, but I do want to make some obnoxiously large, specifically Sora shoes because I
That
love
would be
them.
great.
They're comically amazing. I definitely want to do some Kingdom Hearts costumes one year. So this
Oh,
year I did a very casual Ash Ketchum costume. I
sure.
did another casual, comfortable one, but it was my Stardew Valley farmer, and I made Junimos.
Oh,
That's what my little guy is here, and is squishy. So I made a bunch of
that is
Junimos,
adorable.
and I used a fabric that's kind of a color melt swirly rainbow because what I wanted to do, but was going to cost me more money, is I wanted to use a kind of a stretchy fleece so they're really soft, and just attach the cute little guys, all the bits and bobs. I wanted to do different colored fleece and have like, this is a purely green Junimo stuck to me here, and this is a red one. But instead I chose one fabric that has all of the colors, so it's not exactly how they rotate colors when you have the Junimo hut and you put a prismatic shard in it, but it does scroll rainbow. And so I was like, here we go. This is my prismatic shard Junimo. It gets the point across.
I
So I
didn't
made a
even know
bunch
it
of
did
those and
that.
I
I'm making
strapped
a
them all
note for the
over
next time
me.
I'm playing.
Yes, I've also picked the game back up and been playing lately because I started a new farm at one point, and I'm waiting for 1.6 to drop on console. It will happen. I know it will. The
Me too.
update, I want it. I want it so bad. So instead I just made a new farm to kill some time. Um so I made a Stardew Valley farmer, and then for 2 days, I did a Fallout Vault Dweller, and my Vault Dweller has different elements from different games because I really love Bethesda. I will always give them my money,
Was that
and
was that a
I
really
like
big one
Fallout.
since the show came out
Yes,
within the last few months? Okay,
it
I could
was
see that.
huge.
I figured that was definitely what would happen is whatever the newest thing, there would be a wave of that at the most
Yes,
recent conventions after that. So that makes sense.
yeah,
That was a
Fallout was
great
really
show
big
too. So
this year.
that's I
Yeah, oh
bet.
my God, I had so much fun. We were huge. We took up 2 staircases because I went to the Fallout photo shoot. There's a
Oh
big one. It
wow.
takes up the back steps at the Hilton, out back of the Hilton. And I know there's another series called Has Been Hotels slash Hell of a Boss. I don't know if that's the full title or if there's two shows in the same universe. I have not participated just yet, but it's on all my lists. So
Sure.
that one I'm pretty sure it was bigger. I think it took up more space than Fallout, but from what I have seen of the pictures coming back, because it's a little bit of time past Dragon Con. The pictures are slowly coming in from the photographers, and Has Been Hotel Hell of a Boss was I think the biggest photo shoot this year. And then
Oh
I,
wow.
in my heart,
Okay.
am saying that Fallout was the second biggest, but I don't know for sure yet. But we
It's
were
not a
huge. It was a
competition.
great big
It's not
group.
a
Group.
competition.
Oh no,
Everybody
not
likes what they
in
like, and they're doing that.
not in
It
a
doesn't have to be.
competitive way, but like a look at what we did. Look at how much.
Sure.
Like, yee.
That makes
So
sense.
it's huge, huge this year. Really great, excellent, lots of fun. Um, I believe in the show, and I think it's the intro to the second episode, they pan up over obviously a post-apocalyptic scene, and it's more deserty, sandy, and there's an Assaultron carcass that's there. Body,
Oh wow.
whatever. Um, that
I remember
Assaultron
this.
that's in the show is a local Georgia cosplayer, and I believe that they were
That's
wearing
cool.
that outfit. Like I think that they rented the cosplay
Did
for
they
the show. They may have just made one, like commissioned one for them. But that cosplayer was there. Like that prop
did
maker
they shoot
was
in
at
Atlanta?
Dragon Con. Yes, yeah.
Okay. Well, I know pretty much from what I know about a lot of shows we're shooting in
I think they
Atlanta,
shot in Atlanta. Maybe I'm a liar.
but then they also it's like either California or Atlanta or Canada, like Ontario. I know that those are pretty much the main places where things get shot a lot in different areas.
I mean I might completely be lying. I thought it was in Atlanta. Anyway, the
It could
cosplayer
be.
who provided the Assaultron in that shot was at
That's
Dragon
cool.
Con this year. They are local to the area. And super cool. So there were two Assaultrons, and one was like your standard just kind of rusted normal paint job, like fantastic. And then there's another one which is from Fallout 4. It's a companion, and it's Ada. And so she's got like a teal body paint, and it looks like Nuka
Oh
Cola
wow.
Quantum a little bit. But they had two
Oh,
that were there for the photo shoot this year. And
okay.
so my vault suit, I put 76 on the back. My
As you
Pip-Boy
do.
that I carry is the Fallout 76 one that you could build. It's kind of it comes in, you know, exploded down into, 30 pieces, 100. I don't know, pieces, and you build
Sure.
it. And when the game launched and then it like flopped for a really long time before we got our updates and it became the magical thing that it is now.
Sure.
um
As I mean, that's
the
just like almost all games.
Yeah, exactly. This
I'm
one
not
was
surprised
what a
anymore.
time.
It's unfortunate, but
That went on sale at GameStop, and so that's when I bought that Pip-Boy. But anyway, so I have the 76 Pip-Boy and Vault suit.
got it.
And
Mhm.
then my man opener, specifically, it's called the man opener. In the base game of Fallout 3, it's the auto axe. In the Pit DLC, when you're in Pittsburgh doing that, there is a specific auto axe that's called the man opener. So I have the DLC version. It's not any different. It has a different name.
Okay.
That's it. It's the exact same art,
Well,
everything.
that's
But
different
mine
enough.
is like in my heart, I made the DLC one. It is called the
I mean,
man
why not?
opener. I love that name
You
so
made
much
it.
more. So,
Okay.
and it's across the room, and I keep looking at it. I guess like it's going to respond to me. I don't know. I wanted to force come over to me is what I need to happen is force powers because I want to just like ding, 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 just hold it. And then I made an alien blaster as well, which is from Fallout 3. And then I made kind of like a bandolier, I think might be the right word. that would
All right.
have bullets in it. And ooh, I should make some shotgun shells to put in it, some fake ones.
Yeah.
But I have a pin that I made with another cosplayer that is gears, and then it has 111 on it. So I carry elements from Fallout 4, Fallout 76, and Fallout 3.
It's a
And it's
mishmash of all
not
the
too
Fallout.
long until I make something from New Vegas. What I'd really like to make is the Power Fist, but specifically there's a modded version where it glows red because it's heated, and I want to make that one with LEDs and stuff. I think it'd be really sick.
That sounds
Anyway, I like
awesome.
making props
I'm
and I
gonna
really like
play
video
through all the
games.
Fallout games.
Yes, you should. We can play them at the same time. Oh no, we could provide commentary. Hmm.
Maybe. I feel like that's gonna
Hmm.
be one where there's gonna be a lot of reading. And if I do that, I try to read it all out loud, and that one sounds like a lot, and I'm trying to absorb everything. So I don't know if I've decided if that's gonna be a record gameplay or me just play on my own, but my goal is to play through all the Fallout games, because I basically haven't really played through much of them, but
Yeah,
that sounds really cool.
they're some of my favorite games. They're a good time for sure. So yeah,
Well, that's great.
Fallout was excellent. Photo shoot was really good. One of the panels I went to that was very, very fun was three voice actors, who specifically they were gathered because they are Mass Effect voice actors. I
Oh,
have
now
a
I did just
print
play through
of
that.
Shepard
Which
right
three?
here. So it was Mark Meir who voices male Shepard, Courtney
Okay.
Taylor, who voices Jack from Mass Effect 2 and 3, and
Yep.
then Ash Sroka, I believe is her name, and she voices Tali'Zorah. So it was
Oh, okay.
really awesome. And Mark
That's
Meir
cool.
also voices the, I think you're the sole survivor in Fallout 4, the male sole survivor, kind of like male Shepard, like you're,
Oh, I didn't know that.
I believe that's who he voices. I know he does a Fallout something. Um, but that was a really cool panel. Uh, it was really nice. Oh, I was hoping that they would have joined, but Seth Green was at Dragon Con this year too, and he voices Joker. So I was like, please do a big Mass
Yes.
Effect panel. That would be so amazing. But that was a great panel too. I
I bet
also
that comes back
have
around because I think they're working on another
N7
Mass
art
Effect
up
game.
there. I think so. Probably.
I
I don't
believe
know.
that's been announced. I just finished the trilogy, and I'm going to play Andromeda next because I never actually gave that a chance. I only played the multiplayer of it, but I'm going to play that one next. And then I believe they've announced they're working on a Mass Effect 5, which I don't know anything else about. But that's all I need
That
to
would
know
be
about it. I'm
magical.
excited. I'll play it when it comes out.
I mean, we got N7 Day approaching. I mean, it's like 2 months away, but and November 7th,
Is that
that's
no?
usually when they do the
Oh,
stuff. Yeah, they'll do
that would make
little
sense for them to
teasers,
announce things
announcements,
on that.
etc. Yeah, it'll be really fun.
Got
I'm
it.
very excited. So
Well, that's awesome.
yeah, Dragon Con is it's like the big cool thing I do once a year because I can't usually afford to go to the anime conventions in Atlanta. There's one called MomoCon that's really, really wonderful, and then Anime Weekend Atlanta AWI. Those two are other pieces of my bread and butter. Dragon Con's with my butter. MomoCon and AWI are the pieces of bread in a butter sandwich. I don't like what I've just described.
That doesn't sound. Somehow
Maybe
taking bread and butter and adding 2 pieces of bread to make it a butter sandwich completely changes it. Bread and butter,
I
perfectly fine. Butter
yes.
sandwich, you're a monster.
Even though, hear
It's
me out,
ridiculous.
like we would do bread and butter as kids where it was one piece folded in half. So like if you just put two of those together, it's your bread sandwich, your bread and butter
No,
sandwich.
unacceptable. I would
But
never.
but why is two individual pieces disgusting when one
I
folded
don't
in half to
know.
create half of what you were talking about? Not. I kind of want to make a bread and
I
butter
would.
sandwich now and dip it in like beef stew and see how it is. But it also makes my tummy feel weird to think about it because it's wrong.
That doesn't sound great. But you have given me the idea of just eating an ungrilled cheese, and that doesn't sound bad. Just butter and cheese in a sandwich, and you don't grill it.
Doesn't Gavin Free eat cheese sandwiches? I would imagine it's kind of a
Oh, I
similar
eat cheese sandwiches. I
doop
don't
doop
know.
doop
Maybe.
doop. I'm not a
Well, nothing wrong
positive,
with the
but
cheese
I
sandwich.
guess I would like a cheese sandwich. In fact, I actually have half of a block of Tillamook brand white sharp cheddar in the fridge that I am going to eat with some crackers later and honor my dad's favorite snack.
Cheese and crackers does sound good.
I
Well,
love
anyway,
cheese and crackers. So yeah, Dragon
it
Con
sounds
was a
like Dragon Con
blast.
was a great time.
It was very good. Oh, and then from my Stardew Valley farmer, I made this. It is the mermaid pendant that you give your
Oh yeah.
partner in the game. So this is made of I guess we could put
God, that
some
game is good.
up close shots of it, maybe. Whatever. This is made of a clay foam and many layers of paint and iridescent like powder that I brushed on. So it has a blue purple shine to it, and it's really cool. And I made it modeled after the iridescent shiny mermaid pendant in the game. So I have
Yeah,
that,
no, it looks
and then
spot
my
on. I remember you
Junimos,
showing me a picture of it, and I didn't know what it was because I hadn't played Stardew in a
because
while.
it
And I
looks
wasn't
like a
thinking about it.
poopy.
I was
If you
gonna
look
say
at
a
it
carrot,
right
a blue
straight
carrot, and
on,
I was thinking it was unpolished or like unpainted. But
works for me.
do you that corkscrew? Anyway,
Yeah. So, yep, made that too. I like to make props. They're very fun. And
that's awesome.
next year I have a really cool costume I want to debut. And I'm hoping with a year to, well, a little bit less than a year. In fact, if you pull up the Dragon Con website, they reset a counter so you can see exactly how many days until next con, which is my
Of
favorite
course,
thing.
that's your homepage.
Actually, it's the Stardew Valley wiki, so I mean,
Oh, okay. Well, that's
it's a
probably
toss up
that
between
gets the most
those two.
views.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, I have a page
Multiple
pulled up
monitors.
right
You have
now
multiple
for
browsers that
crafting.
come up.
Oh my gosh, yes. I play Stardew Valley here. I have the wiki for building for building buildings with Robin here. I have the most like gifts up here, which universal likes are all fruit from the fruit trees.
There you go.
And, just there we go. Man. Yeah. Dragon Con was a
Yeah,
blast.
no, sounds like a great time.
It was
I look forward to hearing more about it next year with all the things that you go and see.
Next year, okay, I'm 30 years old. I've gone for 15 years. Next year, I will have gone for more than half of my life.
Wow.
I am so excited. I hope my goal in life is to hopefully always be able to go to Dragon Con in some way. Just every year, that's the thing I make time for. And I really hope that I can go for as long as it exists.
Yeah, that's great.
Ta-da! And, yep. That's all, folks.
Take us out.
Thanks for listening to title of podcast. That's where
It's
it comes out of
definitely
my
been
mouth.
named.
The podcast. What's the name of it? We haven't introed it. We just introed each other.
Well, that's all the time we have for on this week's episode of I walked myself right into it. I was just going to end it without saying the name, and then I went.
Work in progress.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Excellent. Excellent. That was a really cool one.